Hello everyone and welcome to my Y&Ow Insider 24 update channel. Hello everyone and welcome to my Y&Ow Insider 24 update channel. Did Jill not want to help Audra because they are too much alike? The Young and the Restless. Was Jill unwilling to assist Audra due to their excessive similarity? www.soapcentral.com. 3-minute read. The Young and the Restless revealed today that Jill was not keen on bringing Audra Charles on at Abbott Communications. It seemed like an odd decision given the similarities between the two women. Perhaps Jill is merely testing Sally's resolve and strength of character? The Young and the Restless. Mirror. Audra Charles, Zuleika Silva, has a strong supporter in her best friend Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope, on The Young and the Restless image, JPI. Veteran fans of The Young and the Restless recall when Jill Abbott, Jess Walton, became an executive at Jabot Cosmetics. She scored a percentage of the company in her divorce from John, the late, great Jerry Douglas, which allowed her to have an office. Jill learned on the job and rose through the ranks, becoming a successful executive. Why wouldn't Jill want to give Audra the same opportunity? From what little Jill may know of Audra, she may see some of herself in the scrappy survivor. In Genoa City, Jill and Audra both had to fight for respect. People have wanted to paint both of them as undeserving or opportunists. However, they both have a right to work their way up the ladder of success. Jill proved herself at Jabot time and time again. There was a time when her presence wasn't just because she was John's ex-wife, but rather because Jill is a savvy woman who makes smart decisions. Ulterior motive. If Jill, Jess Walton, came back home to meet with Audra, she could also see her son, Billy, Jason Thompson, on The Young and the Restless image, JPI. As Sally herself pointed out, Jill wasn't saying specifically that she couldn't hire Audra. Therefore, it's possible that Jill is evaluating Sally. The redhead wants to have a good relationship with Billy, and part of that means having a good relationship with his mother. Perhaps Jill just wants to see if Sally is willing to stand up for herself and make a decision that she knows is right, even if Jill may not approve. Jill may not know this about Sally, but she is incredibly loyal to her friends. And she's also stood by Billy. If Sally listens to her gut, she'll go ahead and hire Audra because she knows Audra is talented and will be an asset to Abbott Communications. It might be best if Jill were to return to Genoa City and meet with Audra. That way, she can make a more informed decision about Audra and her future with Abbott Communications. The latest twist in Kane's AI story could be sending a hidden message. The Young and the Restless has always been a topical series, so it wasn't too surprising that the words artificial intelligence, aka AI, started popping up in a storyline. Kane needed something big in his arsenal to go up against the Genoa City power players. So what better than the world's latest technology to help him achieve that ambitious goal? The Young and the Restless, all will be revealed. Everyone was all smiles at Kane's estate till people started dying on the Young and the Restless image, JPI. When Billy Flynn's character Kane showed up in France in June, viewers found evidence to back up his claims that he would be a powerful force in Genoa City. He possessed AI technology that had the capacity to make moguls like Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, and others fall to their knees. Kane's AI software could ruin a company, and by the time internal defenses got wind of it, the damage would be done. With great power comes great responsibility. Lillian Kane on The Young and the Restless image, JPI. While Kane had the means to destroy all the big business tycoons back home, he appeared to want something else instead, the love of his ex-wife, Lily, Crystal Khalil, and the love of his estranged children, Charlie, Noah Alexander Jerry, and Matty, Lexi Stevenson. Lily certainly wasn't going to embrace Kane if he ruined all the powerful companies in town, which included her family company, Winters Incorporated. Kane went on to assemble a team that included his attorney, Amanda Sinclair, Michelle Morgan, Michael Baldwin, another attorney, played by Christian LeBlanc, and computer expert Phyllis Summers, Michelle Stafford. Allying himself with Phyllis may have been Kane's undoing. Driven by her own desire to make her mark among the power players, a disrespected Phyllis stole the AI software and gave it to Victor Newman. The mustached mogul turned on Phyllis and used the AI program on Kane himself just as Kane was going to fork over $1 billion in exchange for the software. What's next for Kane? Kane could find himself at a crossroads on The Young and the Restless image. CBS. Kane is not happy, and he must be feeling both frustrated and betrayed. Not only that, he's nowhere near his original goal of being reunited with his family. Has Victor truly devastated Kane's company? Will he be prosecuted, as anyone who used the software for nefarious means should be? Kane is powerless without both his AI program and his company. Could the AI storyline as we know it be ending? It's possible that if he's going to re-win Lily's heart and the affections of his children, he's going to have to start from scratch. The Young and the Restless alum Conner Floyd hopes that Nina rips into Kane. The Young and the Restless fans who still miss Conner Floyd as Chance will get to see the actor in his Days of Our Lives role as Chad. But that's not going to be until next spring. In the meantime, supporters of the late Chance are hoping that he'll get some justice when his mom, Nina, returns to the canvas later this month. The Young and the Restless, A Chance for Justice. Conner Floyd, ex-Chance, is at Days of Our Lives now, playing Chad, the role played by Billy Flynn, who is now Kane on The Young and the Restless image. JPI. Chance's body wasn't even cold yet before Jack blasted Kane, Billy Flynn, in France, that Nina, Trisha Cast, and Jill, Jess Walton, would be devastated over the death of Nina's son and Jill's grandson. There was anticipation that Nina and Jill would pop back up in Genoa City for a memorial service for Chance, but his tribute actually took place off camera and in Los Angeles. Soap Central recently caught up with Floyd to talk to him about his time on Y&R and playing scenes with Cast. Trisha was great to work with, Floyd recalls. When I'd look at her, I'd see my own mom. She was so welcoming. We had some improved where we'd give each other hugs, like a real mom and son would do. Floyd didn't know that fans are hoping that Nina gets to blast Kane for his, at best, inadvertent role in getting Chance killed after his overzealous aide, Carter Vincent Stalber, who wrestled with Chance over a gun. That's when Chance died. That's my mama. Fans are hoping that Nina, Trisha Cast, gives Kane a piece of her mind over Chance, Conner Floyd, dying on The Young and the Restless image. JPI. Longtime Y&R fans can envision Nina going off on Kane for his irresponsible ways that led to her son's death. Floyd is on board with such a scenario. Shoot, I hope so. Floyd responded to the possible scenario. I hope she rips into him. That is my mother. Laura Lee Bell, Christine, has teased Cast's return to the show. Viewers should expect to see more than Cricket's Bestie smile and throw rice at the upcoming wedding. Moving forward, Floyd is hoping that Days viewers accept him as Chad when he starts popping up on the Peacock drama next spring. I love Chad, Floyd enthuses. It's very interesting. He's very different from Chance. I'm trying to honor what Billy, Flynn, Chad, did, and find my own twist on the character while paying homage to what came before. It's this tightrope of Horton and Di-Mera, Floyd muses, referring to his late wife Abigail's, Marcy Miller, family influence. I think Chad's a Di-Mera at heart. In The Young and the Restless, Jill Abbott's reluctance to help Audra Charles at Abbott Communications is not simply a matter of business pragmatism or fleeting personal whim. Rather, it's a deeply rooted psychological reflection of Jill's own journey, personality, and insecurities, an intricate mirror effect that reveals as much about Jill's past as it does about Audra's potential future. To longtime viewers, Jill is more than just an ambitious executive. She is a survivor, a woman who rose from modest beginnings, weathered betrayal, and clawed her way up the social and corporate hierarchy of Genoa City through equal parts cunning, charm, and grit. When she sees Audra, she doesn't just see another up-and-coming professional. She sees herself, decades earlier, a young, driven woman misunderstood by the establishment, underestimated by peers, and perpetually fighting to earn her seat at the table. This parallel may explain Jill's hesitation. It's not that Jill thinks Audra is incapable. Rather, she might be afraid of seeing in Audra the same hunger and resoluteness that once caused her trouble, heartache, and controversy. Helping Audra might feel, to Jill, like enabling a younger version of herself, one that she has spent years trying to evolve beyond. From the outside, Jill's stance appears contradictory. After all, she herself once benefited from being given opportunities despite her lack of pedigree or Polish. Her rise at Jabot Cosmetics was legendary, marked by both bold triumphs and fiery clashes with the likes of Catherine Chancellor and Jack Abbott. Yet, Jill's self-made success came at a personal cost: strained relationships, public scandals, and a reputation that oscillated between admiration and suspicion. The echoes of that history linger in her approach to new protégés. When she looks at Audra Charles, she likely sees both promise and peril. Audra's ambition mirrors her own, and her unflinching self-assurance recalls Jill's youthful defiance. But Jill knows from experience how dangerous that combination can be in a world ruled by ego and manipulation. Perhaps Jill's reluctance to endorse Audra isn't born of malice or rivalry, but rather a wary recognition that too much similarity can lead to collision. Two alpha personalities, both determined to dominate their arenas, rarely coexist peacefully within the same corporate sphere. Thus, Jill's resistance may be a preemptive strike, a subconscious effort to protect both herself and Abbott Communications from the kind of internal power struggle she once embodied. Another angle to consider is Jill's complicated relationship with mentorship and legacy. Jill has always had to balance asserting her independence and seeking validation, despite her rise to prominence as an executive. Strong women are frequently praised by her, but only if she believes they will ultimately conform to her worldview. Audra, on the other hand, represents a new generation of power players, strategic, modern, and digitally savvy, unafraid to bend rules in pursuit of success. Audra's brutality might seem threateningly effective to someone like Jill, whose career was built on old-fashioned corporate maneuvering and charm. There's also the possibility that Jill fears being overshadowed. Her identity as a trailblazer in Genoa City's business scene depends, in part, on her being unique, the woman who broke barriers and redefined what female ambition looked like. Audra's emergence could destabilize that narrative. In Audra, Jill might perceive not only a reflection but also a replacement, someone younger, sharper, and perhaps more attuned to the evolving landscape of media and communications. This dynamic taps into a timeless soap opera theme, the older mentor facing obsolescence in the face of the protégé she helped shape. Adding another layer of intrigue is Sally Spectra's involvement. Sally's advocacy for Audra complicates the emotional web further because Sally herself occupies a precarious position with Jill's son, Billy Abbott. Audra, who is Sally's ally, becomes entangled in Jill's skepticism, which is already heightened by maternal protectiveness. When Jill discourages Sally from hiring Audra, it might be less about Audra's competence and more about testing Sally's backbone. Jill has always respected strength over submission. She wants to see if Sally will push back, assert her own judgment, and prove that she's not easily swayed by external approval. In this sense, Jill's opposition becomes a kind of initiation, a crucible designed to reveal character. If Sally goes ahead and hires Audra despite Jill's disapproval, she not only demonstrates independence but also validates Audra's worth. Jill's challenge, therefore, may be more strategic than spiteful, a mentorship in disguise that forces both women to prove their mettle. Thematically, the storyline operates on the familiar mirror motif that The Young and the Restless has long excelled at. Jill and Audra's similarities evoke the show's generational storytelling, where younger characters often retrace the footsteps of their elders, confronting the same moral and emotional crossroads with updated sensibilities. Jill's reluctance to help Audra isn't purely a matter of personal antipathy. It reflects a universal human fear, the fear of facing one's past through another person's ambition. When we encounter someone who mirrors our strengths and flaws, admiration often mingles with discomfort. At its core, Jill's instinct to keep Audra at a distance is self-defense. It shields her from confronting how much of her former self she may have disowned or how far she's drifted from the woman who once fought tooth and nail to be taken seriously. Moreover, Jill's history with other ambitious women, Catherine, Phyllis, and even Lily, shows a pattern. She simultaneously nurtures and competes with them. She values strength but insists on dominance within her own domain. Audra, being a strong-willed newcomer with modern edge, challenges that balance. The potential for mutual respect exists, but so does the risk of rivalry. If Jill were to take Audra under her wing, the relationship could evolve into a formidable alliance or implode under the weight of ego. In soap opera terms, that's precisely what makes the dynamic compelling, the blurred line between mentorship and manipulation, admiration and envy. From a narrative perspective, the writer's choice to frame Jill's hesitation as a test rather than outright rejection keeps the storyline rich with possibility. Jill's eventual acceptance of Audra, should it occur, will feel earned rather than arbitrary, symbolizing not just professional validation but emotional reconciliation. It would mean that Jill has learned to embrace her reflection instead of resisting it, to see in Audra not a threat but a continuation of her legacy. For Audra, gaining Jill's approval would signify entry into the inner sanctum of Genoa City's elite, but also the beginning of a new set of moral dilemmas: how to succeed without repeating the mistakes of those who came before her. In the broader tapestry of the young and the restless, this subplot underscores the show's enduring fascination with power, legacy, and identity. Jill and Audra represent two eras of womanhood in the corporate world, one forged in a time of male-dominated boardrooms and the other navigating a landscape reshaped by technology and self-branding. Their potential alliance, or collision, embodies the tension between tradition and innovation, experience and ambition. Ultimately, Jill's reluctance to help Audra says less about rejection and more about reflection. It's not that she doesn't want to see another woman succeed. It's that she's being forced to measure what success means when the mirror shows a version of herself she's not sure she fully accepts.